like salad. Do you like salad?
Welcome to Canadian Salad,
a fun, factual, and friendly podcast about culture and integration in Canada.
I'm one of your hosts. I'm Hostion Ho from China, currently living in unceded territory of Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh nations.
And I'm Andrea an immigrant from the United States, broadcasting you from the unceded traditional territory of the Lekwungen people, the Songhees and Esquimalt First Nations.
And you're listening to Canadian Salad.
I love chips.
Chips are good. What's your favorite flavor of chips, Hoshin?
I mean, I quite like the chicken wing flavor I have right now.
Chicken wing, really? Okay. I'll try that. I love masala potato chips.
Oh, masala. Masala is good. Masala is always
really
good with anything.
It's very spicy.
I know.
It's very, yes.
Well, but today's not about food, I heard.
No. It's, well, kind of Hoshin, because Canadian Salad got like international attention by the Vice President of the United States.
Oh, I don't know where that. I didn't know where that famous.
We are evidently. Unfortunately, it wasn't a compliment or it wasn't like a praise or a promotion of Canadian salad or of the salad bowl identity theory that Canada has been known for. It was actually very negative. So we're going to unpack that today.
Please do. I would love to unpack things. Yeah. You know, like after a long trip, we need to unpack.
Yes, we do have to unpack. We have to dish out, clap back, but also provide solutions in a humanizing way because this person is not a humanizing person. We're going to respond to Mr. JD Vance's, he went Twitter crazy, I don't even know, Xer crazy? Like what do you say anymore? Like someone posts on X. It's not Twitter,
X.
Tweet.
Yeah.
I X'd.
A tweet. No, still tweet. People still say tweet.
It's just
people stay tweet. Yeah.
It's just weird. So, but he decided to go and slam CBC in Canada because he's gone ultimately far right. And he said, quote, "No nation has leaned more into diversity as our strength. We don't need a melting pot. We have a salad bowl immigration insanity than Canada," end quote. And he took some digs at CBC. But the salad bowl immigration sanity is what we're going to unpack. What did you initially thought when I sent you that quote or that news article that he had said those things?
Well, I first roll my eyes, obviously. Yes. That's the first thing I did. And then roll my eyes, I saw this name, and then my brain started to hurt when I saw his name. And then saw the quote, and I was like, I am very surprised that he understands what salad immigration means. This person knows something. Yeah, he knows something. He knows some phrases. I was a little bit gagged at his knowledge of that term. Yeah. I also very gagged that he knows that Canada exists, because I thought he doesn't know anything about Canada, anything outside of the United States.
I mean, they do want to, take control over it, the 51st state. I think he did know maybe a little bit, but barely anything.
That's what I'm saying. I thought they would just, refer to us as the 51st state.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that's true. Wow, way to go.
So I was surprised.
Props to him.
Yeah, surprised that he knows his things, his words, like big words for his brain, I think. And the last thing I think of is, of course, to the opposite is how ignorant, obviously, that he is, because it meant this kind of salable immigration is what makes Canada a great nation that it is, and is what Canada is known and famous for, and that's why many people from the States said when Trump is elected, they were going to move to Canada. Even his own people likes us.
Right.
And I think a lot of it thanks to the salable immigration policy that we have.
For sure. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about you? What do you think about when you first saw that?
So many things.
Oh.
First, this is coming from someone who works for a convicted felon. So that was first, my first thought. The second was, this is also coming from someone who has implemented and supported atrocious and cruel policies right now happening in the States towards immigrants. The fact that people are being arrested at the courts because people are doing the legal thing, but they're being met with arrest. That the fact that people, I think 15 people have died in ICE detention centers. Over 250 Canadians have been detained in ICE detention centers since Trump's regime. So this comes from a person who is already platforming cruelty. And so for him to have the audacity to say those things, I was very angry, but also thought, ooh, podcast idea. So here we are. But yes, it just, I think it definitely made me boil for a bit, and but also made me really like sit with, okay, how do we unpack this in a way that's constructive but also humanizing? Because one thing that you and I will not do is we won't dehumanize Mr. Vance. As evil and cruel as he is, we will not stoop to their level of dehumanization towards other people. No. And so how do we look at
We
this?
might make jokes though.
Oh, yes, of course. But yeah, how do we look at, of course, we're going to look at a bit of the hypocrisy, but then actually looking at, okay, melting pot, JD Vance. Okay, let's look at what that actually world that looks like. Okay, if no salad bowl, let's look at what that looks like. And then we're going to look at like just how unconsciously we're embracing diversity every day, and looking at immigrants from switching it from a deficit to an asset perspective. Instead of looking at immigrants as those who take, it's those who give. And so, that's kind of the outline for today and what we're so that's how I wanted to approach this. So, yeah. So maybe we'll just jump right into the hypocrisy. For those of you, who don't know JD Vance, he is the newly elected Vice President of the United States of America. Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. So the first thing is, in 2020, when he was campaigning for Trump, he was on platforms and in public spheres and settings, he was saying that Haitian immigrants were eating cats and dogs. This was something that he repeated, Trump repeated, multiple people within the MAGA party repeated. But then when in an interview, when he was confronted with, there's been no documentation, there's nothing that we can find, when he was pressed about these claims, he said, quote, "If I have to create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do," end quote. Basically acknowledging, like, doesn't matter if it's not true. I need to create stories in order to make this rhetoric and these stories to have some kind of attention, because our goal and our end game is to basically eliminate and get rid of people who are immigrants, specifically who are Black or brown immigrants. So he makes up stories. So he's not a trustworthy person at all. Second, he is married to an Indian woman, Usha Vance. She is the daughter of Hindu Telugu immigrant parents. They immigrated to California in the 1980s. She was born in California, but she was very much raised by her immigrant parents. She was a registered Democrat before her husband was endorsed by Trump. And she worked for some legal agencies that would be deemed quote unquote woke, based on the advocacy that they were doing. The third, I know. Yeah. He's got two, I think he's got 2 kids, biracial kids.
Oh my God. Like, divorce him, woman. Oh my goodness.
I mean, love at first sight. If you read, they had they met at, I believe, Yale, or I think it was Yale, and both of them said it was just an instant connection, blah, 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 blah.
But after all the things that he said in public platforms, I will leave. It's such a disrespect to myself.
I agree. But I think there is that lateral violence where, the immigrants today are nothing like my parents, right? There is this kind of idea or this glorification of, well, the immigrants we were letting in 30 years ago are not like the immigrants today. It's so like we've been the same playbook. Like we were saying that about Irish people. Oh, Irish immigrants, they're terrible. They're drunks. Oh, the Scottish, they're terrible. They're drunks. Oh, the Chinese, pick a group of people. And at some point in time, that narrative has been like, ooh, well, they're nothing like, the immigrants from England. They're nothing like the immigrants from here, or the immigrants from this time or this time.
But she's an Indian woman with a lot of Indian hate here. Like, isn't she also feeling the heat?
I know. And I mean, it is that a bit of racism in me. Shameful plug for episode, I think it was season 1, we unpacked the racism that especially people of color have built in. Internalized racism. The third thing about the hypocrisy of Mr. J.D. Vance is that he was actively against Trump before he was endorsed. So during the 2016, so Trump's first presidential election, Vance wrote that he goes, quote, back and forth between thinking Trump is a cynical a-hole like Nixon, who wouldn't be that bad, or that he's America's Hitler, end quote. So this was J.D. Vance not like 9 years ago, not even 50, you know what I mean? And then in another 2016 interview about his book, so Vance wrote a book about growing up in rural white America and how it was really hard for white people to like climb up, you know, systemic issues because like wealth capitalism likes to keep poor people poor. And so he told a reporter that although his background would have made him a natural Trump supporter, he said, quote, the reason ultimately that I am not is because I think that Trump is the most raw expression of a massive finger pointed at other people, end quote. He called him irrehensible and an idiot. And then he got public attention. And then Trump endorsed him somehow. And of course, he's recanted all of that, apologized. I didn't know of the great man that Trump was, blah, blah, blah. So this is the person that has made the statement that Canada's salad bowl immigration is insanity.
Wow.
Any initial thoughts?
The initial thought is, you know, money... It's the irony of he thinks money keep him like from climbing up, like making so much more difficult for him to climb up. Now he becomes a problem that he used to, you know, put finger at.
For sure. That he suffered underneath, right?
He suffered and now he becomes...
He didn't grow up with a father, went to school, found himself just in these spaces of leadership, and then to be handed a very powerful position. It's kind of like that line. I don't know if you ever saw that musical Hamilton.
What line?
There's a line in Hamilton where Alexander Hamilton says to Aaron Burr, if you don't stand for something, then what will you fall for?
Ooh.
And I feel like such a simple statement, but I feel like if you're not standing up for like your core values, like consistently, and like you bleed them and you live them and embody them, then you will fall for just anything. And I feel like that's J.D. Vance. He's fallen for the power and narratives to just support ideas that I think inherently he has embodied. And we're going to unpack unconscious diversity and how we accept those things unconsciously. But yeah, those are my thoughts. So
unfortunate, very unfortunate. And those are our the America's leaders.
Yes, currently. Yeah. But he's saying all the quiet parts out loud, to be quite honest. They've always been there. Those thoughts and sentiments have always been there. So I wanted to take maybe just a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes. So let's just go with Vance's idea of no salad bowl immigration, melting pot, monoculture. What does that world look like? Hoshin, what do you think that world looks like?
Well, if I still live in Canada, I'm monoculture. First, I will assume I'm white. I think people eat very boring food, especially in the sense of Canada, because I would assume monoculture here, I would assume just mostly white
British.
people.
British, yeah.
British.
Maybe some French.
Yeah.
But no, it's monoculture, so we have to pick one.
Yeah. It'll be very boring food, very boring activities to do. Movies will be boring. Because I'll probably just own one type of things, or hero movies about the queen, the king, I don't know. Fashion will be boring as well. What are they going to wear even? I don't even know what kind of culture this stuff they have. Not a very exciting like situation to begin with.
Yeah. I was thinking about this. I was like, what makes everything about who we are today, take that all away, you wouldn't have the English language. you wouldn't have Christmas.
Yep.
You wouldn't have math. You wouldn't have your clothes. You wouldn't have spices. You wouldn't have a lot. And
You wouldn't.
and honestly, I don't know of any culture globally, and I've researched this. Like, there is no monoculture. Like, there are dominant cultures, right? So, like, if we think of Japan or even maybe China, even Korea, there are dominant cultures, but there's still a lot of diversity within those countries. I mean, wouldn't you say that even in China, right, that there is maybe a more dominant culture?
Absolutely.
But would you say that China's monocultural?
No, like China definitely not monoculture. In many ways, China is very like open to a lot of like foreign cultures, especially the influence of K-pop or Japanese, like Japan. A lot of culture influence in China. If you talk about monoculture, I actually think Japan may be the one of the most maybe mono-leaning culture. Like definitely not mono to any extent, but Japan like to keep their own traditions and keep it from minimum influence. But still, like when I was in Kyoto, which is a very very old Japanese town, a city that has still maintained a lot of traditions and even buildings. If you're just walking in the city, it's very Japanese. There's barely any high rise or like quote unquote Western style buildings. All these wood houses. But if it's still like if you look around the restaurant, the things they serve, or like if you go to any shop of like clothing, like still there's a lot of cultural influence from somewhere else.
Yeah. Wasn't there even Chinese influence? There like at some point, like there was.
Oh
right?
yeah, if you talk about true, like even kimono, if you would think about kimono is from the dress code. Kimono is actually influenced from the Tang Dynasty. They inherit that kind of way of wearing, and then they alter a little bit, become their we call it kimono now, but it was actually from China. And even matcha was a very old way of making tea. They also learned it from China. Yeah. Before, and so even a lot of Japanese culture now we see it. It was not really from Japan. It was taken. It was taken from China, and then they just localized it in some sense. Yeah. So there's no monoculture.
No, and from what I understand too, in Japan, like they are looking at how youth and younger people are getting education outside of Japan, maybe not coming back, and so looking at even just how do we keep going economically. I met 2 Japanese immigration lawyers, and they were saying that, we need immigration, but our immigration laws are so strict and so high. Like you have to have a certain amount of money. You have to speak fluent Japanese. You have to live there for an X amount of years. And so these immigration lawyers were saying, like, looking to Canada, because Canada is this global model of saying, how do we do this? Because we're kind of fizzling out. Even sumo, I did an episode on sumo wrestling. Finding athletes for sumo is really, really difficult. But the sport is being kept alive and at least has an international reputation because there's fantasy sumo clubs all over the world who watch the sport, who really enjoy it, who are finding, a kind of respect for it. But then... So in some ways, I feel like other cultures can keep other cultures alive.
Agree.
Like all the Chinatowns that we have in Canada, we wouldn't know. I mean, obviously that's not like a pure reflection of Chinese culture, but it is an aspect of it. And we wouldn't have an ounce of understanding if we didn't have Chinese people here building towns and building centers and businesses that reflected a culture. Right. But I just feel like there is no way that like a melting pot works. We talk about unconscious bias, and I want to talk about unconscious welcome. So Canada has always been a salad. So Mr. JD Vance, if you are rage listening to our podcast, I want you to know that Canada has always been a salad. That's always been who Canada has been. Even before colonizers came, it's been the default, not the exception. So before colonizers came to Turtle Island, there was an estimated 430 languages from over 50 First Nations here. And I can guarantee you a First Nation in the northern part of Canada versus the eastern part of Canada, they did not have similarity. Like they probably had some commonalities, but culturally
Like
they probably
all
practiced,
culture
observed
does.
different things. All cultures do, right?
Yeah,
Right?
the similarities, yes.
Yeah, yeah. When the British came over and then the French came over, so now we have French and English cultures and languages now. Like we have two languages as Canada's official language. If we look at even agriculture, plants who are kept by themselves and they aren't exposed to the ecosystem that they need to grow in, they die. So they're more prone to disease. They are more vulnerable to pests.
A biology class.
Yeah, exactly. They can't resist changes in the environment because they haven't been exposed to any other ecosystem. And this is my point that like we as human beings, wherever we find ourselves, no matter what part of the world, we're part of this massive ecosystem. Massive. And so to say that like one group of people or, you know, we just need to like have one kind of way of doing things, that's how we should always do it. It doesn't work. And people have tried.
To say even the language we're speaking right now, English is one of the most diverse language in the sense that it takes it consists of a lot of other languages.
Yeah.
Like a lot of words were stolen from other languages, from German, from French, like everyday use. Like fiance, there's no fiance French word. There's no English equivalent. We just use the French word.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Everything we do today is because of unconscious diversity in a salad-bowl world. Yeah.
Even the English we speak in itself is a proof of diversity.
It is. 80% of English is made up from other languages. 350 languages just in our English language. Math predates the Western Empire. That's like Arabic.
Calendar.
Our
current
calendar, yes,
dates
yes.
back from the Egyptian calendar. It was the Egyptian calendar and then kind of changed a little bit,
Exactly.
updated a little bit to a current calendar.
Yeah.
So a lot of things we use nowadays is not mono.
No, especially like Apple products. So Steve Jobs was a descendant of a Syrian immigrant. Amazon, Home Depot, Intel, Google, eBay, all founded by immigrants or children of immigrants. 40% of Fortune 500 companies were founded by immigrants or immigrant children. Right? Our, like you said, food, our upcoming holiday, Christmas. It's a non-Christian, pagan, and Roman traditions. It's not even Christian. And yet we've adopted it. We've said, oh yeah, this is great. And I think this is the biggest piece is that J.D. Vance and many other people who are resistant to immigration, who want things a certain way, I'm uncomfortable with a world that I cannot control. When the reality is we have never had control of the world that we exist in.
We never.
And we've always been subtly adopting and making other cultures and traditions a part of our lives every single day without thinking about it. But when it comes to someone right in front of us, someone who looks different than us, sounds different than us, does different things, our brains are just like, we don't know what to do with that. We think in these binaries. And monoculture can be appealing because it reduces this complexity of multiculturalism to a single storyline, right? Because multiculturalism requires that many truths can coexist. Identities are layered. Cultures interact rather than merge into sameness. And for many people, nuance can feel like a destabilization, right? We want a single dominant core narrative. We want simplicity. Our brains, if we have too many choices in front of us, it's harder for us to we get overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So this is kind of how we were made to survive, whether it was the dangerous wolf that was chasing after us. Our brains had to make swift decisions about what was safe for us. But what's also amazing is that our brains are capable of these things. We're capable of embracing multiculturalism, a salad bowl immigration. Just a few examples of how monocultural projects were tried to be implemented worldwide, we have Nazi Germany, right? 1933 to 1945. We have Imperial Japan. So this is the Meiji to World War II. So enforced Japanese cultural dominance in Korea, Taiwan, Manchuria. It was banning local languages. They imposed Shinto and assimilation through schooling. The Soviet Union from 1922 to 1991. So there was a lot of censorship, forced population movements. They were really trying to encourage atheism at the time, like there's no spirituality. One of these, and I'd love for you to maybe add the Chinese Cultural Revolution, 1966 to 1976, right?
Yeah.
To an attempt to erase old culture, destruction of traditions, ideological purity campaigns, enforced homogeneity. So that was one.
They're kind of doing it now. Even China is like very subtly having like a second wave now. They are banning a lot of like foreign programming, like even advertisement in public spaces. They change all of that, and they're displaying a lot of like Chinese history things on these billboards now. Not even no advertisement allowed. So like they are in all kinds of ways, kind of in like trying to make sure that Chinese culture or the monoculture was the only thing that's being displayed in public.
Right. Right. Yeah. And the U.S., I would say, is doing the same thing, because that melting pot, that assimilation with book banning, with arresting people who look different than Eurocentric people. Another movement was apartheid South Africa. So racial segregation, white cultural dominance, restrictions on moving, voting, relationships, cultural censorship, state violence. Italy. So fascist Italy from 1922 to 1943, a nationalist monoculture, suppression of minority languages, political repression, state-controlled cultures. And then European colonial empires, obviously from the 16th to the 20th century, right? Trying to create this monoculture, like we are the superior, we're going to eradicate all indigenous languages. We're going to rename lands. We are going to have hierarchical racial systems and forced religious conversion. But even we see this with sexuality, like conversion therapy. Like there's always been attempts for people historically we want to create these monocultures. And the reality is they all fail. All of these failed at some point in time. And they're all still going to fail. Like it goes through these cycles, these cycles, right? Because monocultures require coercion. They require needed censorship, suppression, and violence to maintain illusions of cultural purity. Monocultures also produce fragility, like it makes systems very fragile. So rigid systems can adapt to social change, global pressure, or even internal diversity. It can't adapt. It breaks under these systems. And resistance always emerges. Resistance always emerges because it's counter to who we are naturally.
Yeah, because you're asking everyone to think the same, do the same, and like the same thing. It's not possible, because even maybe this generation can do that, the next may not be, and the next and the next may not be, because people change, the world change. Like our brain change, like is very crazy to think that this system to make sure all of us do the same thing, think the same thing, and like the same thing, will work. It's crazy to think that way.
Yeah, it is. So the resistance always emerges. Collapse is also usually sudden. So monocultural projects tend to unravel quickly once their control mechanisms weaken. Which is encouraging, because this can only last for so long. But what's not encouraging is the many people that will suffer under the brutality of trying to create a monocultural system or society. And then after collapse, all of these events emerge pluralism. So from Germany to China to Italy to the United States to Russia to our colonial empires from Europe, cultures reemerge because diversity is the natural human condition. So everything we do, everything that makes Canada Canada, that's always been Canada. And to call it insanity is to demonstrate that, one, you're afraid, but two, you can't accept this idea that who you are naturally is very diverse. Mr. Vance, you wouldn't have your wife without immigration. You talk about the love of your life. This is my soulmate. I'm really happy for you, but you wouldn't have found her. Because under your regime and under your
She will
mindset
not
right
be
now,
there.
she would not be there. In fact, she'd be in an ICE detention facility with her parents.
Oh,
So coming out of that, I think accepting the fact that Canada has always been and will always be a salad bowl.
hopefully.
Well, if we try to make it not, it will come back.
It will fail, yeah.
It's going to fail. It's going to fail. And
Yeah.
we see people trying to do that. So I want to end with just thinking about immigrants, because this is the narrative of the United States leadership. This is the narrative I'm hearing out of some conservative party leadership and even some liberals too, is that immigrants take and they are a deficit, rather than looking at immigrants as people who give. And we've talked about this, Hoshin. You and I have talked about how much we give. We're stuck in this mindset of that immigrants need support and we need services so that we can be successful in Canada. That might be true for some, but that's not the heartbeat of immigrants.
No.
What we don't hear is what they bring, their ideas, their experiences, their education, their skill set, their traditions, their problem solving, and their innovations. Right? We talked about how over 40% of Fortune 500 companies are immigrant founded. Looking at Stats Canada, they asked immigrants, like, what is the top reason that you immigrate? Higher quality of life. So immigrants are already coming with this idea that Canada has a higher quality. Immigrants aren't coming with this idea like, I want to ruin that quality. No one does that. Who does that?
People always want to live better, of course.
Right?
No one wants to.
We're coming to the best. We in our minds, we want to come to some quality. Like if I wanted to go to a quality restaurant, I would not show up in my pajamas with food chunks sticking out of my teeth.
Exactly.
I would dress up. I would want to look my best. I would want to be a part of that quality experience. The second reason people immigrate was to contribute to Canada's growing economy. Immigrants see Canada as growth and opportunity. They don't see it as a dead end. So
they want to
right?
work. They want to
They
contribute.
want to work. Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to contribute. How many times have you seen a company that's like slowly shutting down and closing? You're like, you know what? I'm going to apply to work there. I want to work with that company because they are
Of
dying.
course, yeah.
But this is the mentality that we think like, oh, they're just coming to take, rather than looking at why immigrants come and the values that they are bringing and the efforts and the passion and the beliefs that they have about Canada as a whole. So it's saying these are good things and we want to be a part of these good things because we also believe they're good things. We're not coming here to poop on stuff and to just destroy. We're recognizing there's a quality system here and we want to be a part of that quality system.
Yes. And not just like to taking, to also like be part of this good quality system, but also to contribute to it, right? Because they send kids here to study and then they eventually becomes a member of society that contributes back to the society, maybe become a doctor, become some sort of labor force, which we have, I mentioned that before, that many industry in Canada still needs a lot of, we're facing shortage of labor.
Yeah.
And it's like Canada itself, the birth rate is not good enough to support the growth of our economy. So we generally just need immigrants to come to support the labor market. Otherwise, everything that you buy is gonna be more expensive, or service is gonna be slower.
Correct.
Because if we don't have enough immigrants to come here to join the work market.
And people to stay. Like if that were to happen, you better believe Canadian-born people would be moving to other parts of the world because there was no opportunity, because they wanted to succeed. They wanted to contribute. They wanted a better life somewhere else. We have to come out of this mindset that immigrants take, they give, and they not just give economically, but they give culture, they give language, they give businesses, they give opportunities, they give just a different way of looking at things. And that's never been a threat.
Thinking of this idea of like, there's another layer of that too. Like somehow, like we have, like immigrant has to give this the only criteria can justify them coming here. If they don't give, they should not be here.
Right.
I feel like that is another narrative that I feel like we kind of pigeonhole ourselves into as immigrants that feel we have to be of use. Otherwise, this land
Our
or this
value.
country,
Yeah.
if you're not, then you should get out of here. And I also don't think that is right, nor that is the truth, because like this land to begin with does not belong to the so-called Canada, because because we all know the indigenous people are not involved in the immigration policy here.
Right.
And the second part is also like of use to whom? Why am I not working my life here, having my life here, that I support myself being independent is not enough? Why do I have to make of this great use to whoever society we're talking about? This is the only way that I can justify me moving here and live a life to support my family, or even just support my own. Or maybe I do not make any great contribution to anyone around other than my own or my family. Why does not enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's just another thought.
Yeah. That being human isn't enough.
Yeah.
We value people based on how we see them and what level of value they're bringing to the table,
I agree.
which is unfair. The sad thing is like Canadians are believing Mr. Vance and like, yeah, you tell us, yeah, our liberal government, kind of a thing. And it's because of this idea that like we unconsciously don't realize how much we are ingesting and adapting and changing and how diverse we are just as people.
We're
And
spoiled in many ways. We're just so and take
spoiled,
we're very spoiled, and then
yeah.
we definitely took it for granted.
Yeah.
We are.
So, Mr. Vance, I have a few words for you. Canada and the United States have always been a salad bowl. No matter how long you've tried to make the United States a melting pot, and no matter how much you want to point your sticky, not so kind finger in our face and insult who we are, you've got to wake up and look at yourself in the mirror and recognize the diversity that you come from and the diversity that you embody in your family. Because if you can't accept that, you're never going to... I just would say just stop speaking, stop traveling, stop doing math, stop listening to music, stop buying clothes, just stop everything that is not the culture that you prefer, and you will recognize that very quickly you are cold, naked, and afraid, and you cannot survive. That's my 2 cents. How about you? Do you have any words for Mr. Vance?
Mr. Vance, I just think that since you already have a immigrant wife, everything you said just makes no sense, because obviously you're already enjoying what diversity and immigration has brought you.
Yeah.
You have a family because of it. And now you try to smear the power and the strength that diversity come to us and how it enriches our life because you already live in it. It is not just vile, but also hypocritical. And as we have mentioned, no matter how hard many regime has tried to, to suppress diversity or immigration, they all fail. So I want to let you know that you, like many people fail before you, you will also fail.
Yeah.
And we will prevail.
Yes. Diversity will always make it because it's who we are. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you, Hostion. It feels good. It feels good to talk about it. So thank you, Hostion, for joining me in the...
No problem, of course.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you for preparing this.
Of course. Are you ready for a Canadian salad bowl pop quiz?
A salad
Hostion,
bowl.
Mr. Vance, and all of our listeners?
Yes, absolutely. What about you?
I am ready too. I will let you go first since,
Okay. My question is, when has Canada regulated immigration?
When did they start regulating immigration?
Yeah. So when
Oh.
that policy started put in place to regulate immigration.
Like 1910?
1910?
I mean, they did a lot of regulations against
Earlier.
Chinese. Yeah.
Before-
Earlier.
Before that,
before.
Yeah.
1875.
1875. That's very close. It's 1869.
1869.
Yeah, Canada first immigration policy following the Confederation.
Oh.
Yeah, it contains very few restrictions on immigration. The Immigration Act is like published in 1869.
Wow. After they from different cultures came to
They
annihilate
started having
cultures
more.
that already existed to say,
Yeah,
now we're going to make up rules about which cultures can be here and which ones can't.
yeah, indeed. And then, of course, through the years, there's many
So many.
different, like the Chinese Immigration Act in 1885, we mentioned before.
Mhm.
Or there's another revision of the Immigration Act in 1906. Like there's many versions have come
There
after.
are.
They keep changing it. Yeah,
Okay. Well, good to know. Okay. 1869.
exactly. 1869. What about you?
All right. How many of Canada's prime ministers were immigrants?
Like from
Born outside of
UK.
born
Born
outside of present day Canada. Yes.
Probably zero.
Is that your final answer?
Actually, let's say one.
Okay, 1. Is that your final
One.
answer?
Yeah,
Okay. 4.
4. Oh.
There's been 4.
Okay.
4, yeah. So the very first prime minister was
John
born in
McDonnell.
Scotland. Hmm.
Yeah.
Alexander Mackenzie, born in Scotland.
Oh.
Sir Mackenzie Bowell, born in England. And John Turner was born in England.
Okay.
This is also a rule, or not even a rule, but you do not have to be born in Canada to be prime minister.
Yeah, you just need to be a Canadian citizen. Yes.
So take that, salad bowl, Auntie McGee, Mr. Vance.
In the States, you have to be born in the States.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
Mm.
So, in your face.
That's why we're in Canada. That's why we're
your
in Canada.
face. That's right.
We can be
That's right.
presidents.
We
we can be prime
Hoshin,
ministers.
You should be prime minister. You'd be so good.
You should be. We could get co-prime
Girl.
minister.
Oh, I would love that.
Every day we do a podcast.
We would, and then we would give everyone hugs, and then
I don't think I
we
can
would.
hug everyone. Oh my god,
That'd be a lot of hugs. My arms
a
would
lot.
hurt. Yeah.
Yeah.
And get sick. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Too
Yeah.
many
So,
people, too many strangers.
yes, exactly. Yes. Well, if you're new joining us, thank you so much. Please leave a review of what you thought of this episode. You also follow us on social media. We are on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And check out our website. We include all of our links to all of the information that we talk about, so you know that we're not pulling stuff out of our nose. We're credible. And we are researched and master's level people. That's right. Immigrants get their masters. But yes, please leave us a note, share us with your friends and family, and join us every Tuesday for a new episode. Thank you, Hoshin.
No problem. Thank you. See you
right.
next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Canadian Salad is written and produced in British Columbia, Canada by Hoshin Ho and Andrea McCoy. Theme music is by Naver Avatyan from Pixabay.
This has been a good Drinklin production.